The shuttle doors hissed open, and Princess Kailtera stepped onto human soil for the first time. Her pale silver skin caught the artificial lights of the docking bay, reflecting them like moonlight on still water. She clutched the small ceremonial case containing her dowry, genetic samples, cultural artifacts, and 3 generations of her family's diplomatic records. Behind her, the Velcaris delegation filed out in formation, their faces carved from duty and disapproval. Ambassador Threnvik moved beside her, his voice low. "Remember your training, Princess. These humans are beneath us in every measurable way. Do not let their primitiveness discourage you." Kailtera said nothing. She had heard this speech 1,000 times during the 6-month journey. The humans were young, aggressive, technologically inferior. The marriage alliance was a political maneuver, nothing more, a way to secure mining rights in the outer systems without military confrontation. And she, the 4th daughter of Queen Sevrala, the one born without the telepathic gifts that mark true Velcaris nobility, was expendable enough to be the offering. A human woman approached, her uniform crisp and adorned with insignia Kailtera had studied but never seen in person. "Princess Kailtera, I'm Captain Martinez. Welcome to Outpost Meridian." No bow. No traditional greeting. Just a handshake extended like a challenge. Kailtera took it, feeling the rough warmth of human skin against her own cool palm. "Thank you for receiving us." The delegation moved through corridors that smelled of recycled air and something else, coffee, Martinez called it when Kailtera's nose wrinkled. They passed groups of humans who stopped to stare. Some whispered. One laughed, quickly silenced by a companion's elbow. "Your quarters are in the diplomatic wing," Martinez said, leading them into an elevator. "Your betrothed arrived yesterday. He's been briefed on Velcaris customs." "Has he?" Threnvik's tone could have frozen plasma. Martinez's expression didn't change. "Commander Chin is one of our finest officers. You'll meet him at the evening reception." The quarters were smaller than Kailtera's closet back home. A bed, a desk, a viewing port showing the swirling gray-green of the gas giant below. She dismissed her attendants and sat on the edge of the bed, feeling the unfamiliar softness. Everything here was soft, rounded, as if humans feared sharp edges. She opened her personal comm, expecting messages from her sisters. Instead, there was only one from her mother. "Do not shame us." The reception hall buzzed with conversation that died the moment she entered. Kailtera had chosen her most formal attire, flowing robes in the deep violet of her house, her hair arranged in the traditional 7 braids signifying unwed nobility. She felt every ISS and dismiss her. A group of human officers stood near the refreshment table. Their words carried across the room. "Can you believe the audacity? Sending us damaged goods? I heard she's defective. No telepathy. That's why they're pawning her off. Chin must have pissed off someone important to get stuck with this assignment." Kailtera's training held. She kept her spine straight, her face serene, her hands folded properly at her waist. But her hearts, both of them, hammered against her ribs. "Ignore them." The voice came from her left. A human man, tall and lean, with dark hair graying at the temples and eyes that held none of the mockery she'd seen in the others. He wore a commander's insignia. "Most of them have never left Sol system. They don't understand anything beyond their own fear. Commander Chen, I presume. Just Chen is fine, when we're not being official." He offered her a glass of something pale and sparkling. "It's water with fruit essence. I checked the Velcaris dietary restrictions." She took it, surprised by the gesture. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." His gaze moved past her to the delegation, to Threnvik's disapproving scowl, to Martinez standing at attention by the door. "This alliance matters. Not because of mining rights or trade agreements, but because if we can't learn to respect each other across the stars, we're all doomed to repeat the same cycles of war that nearly destroyed my species centuries ago. You speak idealistically for a military commander. I speak from experience." He set his own glass down untouched. "I've seen what happens when people are treated as expendable." The words hit harder than Kailtera expected, She studied his face, searching for deception or pity, finding neither. Why did you agree to this arrangement? Because someone needs to prove it can work. And because... He paused, choosing words carefully. I've read your academic papers on interspecies linguistics. The way you proposed adapting human Velcaris translation matrices was brilliant. Anyone who thinks you're defective is an idiot. Heat rushed to her cheeks, a human response she'd read about but never experienced. Before she could reply, alarms shrieked through the station. Red lights pulsed. Martinez's voice cut through the chaos. Security breach in the lower docking bay. All personnel to stations. Chen's demeanor changed instantly. Stay here. Lock the doors. I'm not helpless. No, but you're a diplomatic asset, and someone just triggered every security protocol we have. He was already moving, drawing a weapon from his belt. Martinez, detail on the princess. Now. Kael'Thera watched him disappear into the corridor, understanding crystallizing like ice. This wasn't a random malfunction. Someone, human or Velcaris, had just made their first move in a much larger game. And she, the Barren princess sent as a token of peace, was standing at the center of it. Martinez appeared at her elbow, weapon ready, expression grim. Your Highness, we need to move you to a secure location. Through the viewing port, Kael'Thera saw ships detaching from the station. Not human vessels. The distinctive curved hulls of Velcaris cruisers. Her mother's personal fleet. Too late for that, she said quietly. Whatever's happening, it's already begun. The station shuddered beneath their feet. Chen's team reached the lower bay in 4 minutes, weapons raised, moving in practiced formation. The bay doors had been manually overridden, someone with access codes and knowledge of human systems. Smoke hazed the air from disabled cameras. In the center of the bay stood a figure in Velcaris diplomatic robes. Not just any robes. Royal colors. Green and gold. Hold fire, Chen ordered. He stepped forward, keeping his weapon trained center mass. Identify yourself. The figure turned, pulling back her hood. Princess Telvara, Kael'Thera's eldest sister. Her face held the sharp beauty that marked highborn Velcaris, eyes glowing faintly with telepathic power. Commander Chen. How unfortunate that we meet under these circumstances. You're in violation of at least 6 interstellar treaties. Whatever you're planning. Planning? Telvara laughed. Commander, the plan is already complete. My sister was never meant to be your wife. She was meant to be your hostage. Behind Chen, his second-in-command swore. Chen didn't flinch. Explain. My mother believes humans are too dangerous to exist independently. Your rapid technological advancement, your aggressive expansion, it threatens the order of civilized space. This marriage was a pretense to place Velcaris forces in position around your colonies. She gestured to the viewing port, where more ships materialized from slip space. Dozens. Hundreds. By now, fleets are surrounding every major human settlement. You have 12 hours to surrender complete governmental control to the Velcaris Empire, or we begin orbital bombardment. You'd kill your own sister? Telvara's expression flickered. Kael'Thera was always expendable. Born without gifts, unable to contribute to our collective. She understands her role. Does she? Chen's grip tightened on his weapon. I don't think you know your sister at all. Elsewhere in the station, Kael'Thera stood frozen in her quarters, Martinez and 2 other guards forming a barrier at the door. Through her personal comm, she could hear everything: station-wide emergency broadcasts, tactical communications, and underneath it all, a frequency she recognized from childhood. Velcaris military encryption. She pulled up her personal workstation, fingers flying across controls. Years of academic study had given her access to databases most Velcaris never saw: historical records, linguistic patterns, military protocols. She'd never been telepathic, but she'd learned to compensate by being twice as thorough, 3 times as careful. Your Highness, you should step away from the computer, Martinez said. For your own safety. My safety? Kael'Thera's laugh was bitter. Captain, my sister just declared war using me as an excuse. My safety ended the moment I agreed to this marriage. Her fingers kept moving. But I didn't spend 6 months studying human systems architecture out of boredom. She found what she was looking for buried in the diplomatic databases. Her mother's contingency plans, delivered encrypted within the cultural artifacts she'd brought as dowry. The entire invasion timeline. Fleet positions. Target priorities. All hidden in plain sight, assuming Kael'Thera would be too incompetent to decode her own language's ceremonial texts. Martinez. Kael'Thera's voice was steady now. I need a direct line to your command center. And I need access to the station's long-range communications array. That's not possible. My mother just threatened to commit genocide against billions of humans. I'm making it possible. She met the captain's eyes. Unless you prefer to follow protocol while people die. Martinez hesitated for 3 seconds. Then she pulled out her personal comm. This is Captain Martinez. Requesting emergency command authorization for diplomatic asset Kael'Thera. Priority Omega. In the docking bay, Telvara moved closer to Chin, her expression confident. You're wondering if you should shoot me. Calculating whether my death would change anything. It wouldn't. My mother has planned for every contingency. She tilted her head. Except perhaps one. Which is? That my sister might actually matter. That humans might value a life we deemed worthless enough to defend it. Her smile was sad. But we both know that's unlikely. You've only known Kael'Thera for hours. Why would you sacrifice your species for her? Chin lowered his weapon slightly. Not holstering it, that would be suicide, but enough to show he was listening. You're right. I don't know her well. But I know she chose to come here despite knowing how she'd be received. I know she spent months learning our customs, our language, our history. And I know that your mother is wrong. About what? About expendability. About worth. About what makes someone valuable. He gestured to his team. Every person here was told at some point they weren't good enough. Too aggressive, too emotional, too human. We've made peace with other species by accepting our flaws and growing past them. Your sister wasn't born broken. She was born different. And maybe that's exactly what this alliance needs. Telvara's glow dimmed slightly. For the first time, uncertainty crossed her face. Pretty words won't stop a fleet, Commander. No, agreed a new voice. Kael'Thera stepped into the bay, Martinez at her side, a datapad in her hands. But this will. Telvara spun, shock breaking through her diplomatic mask. Kael? What are you doing here? Saving both our species from Mother's arrogance. Kael'Thera held up the datapad. Did you know the Velcaris Empire signed a treaty with the Confederation of Outer Colonies 3 cycles ago? A mutual defense pact. Humanity is a signatory to that confederation as of 2 months ago. Mother's attack violates our own treaties. The moment she fires on human colonies, every species in the Confederation is obligated to respond militarily against us. That's classified, so were the invasion plans you hid in my dowry. Kael'Thera's voice was cold. I decoded them. All of them. Fleet positions, target priorities, timeline. I've already transmitted everything to the Human Command Center and to the Confederation Council. She stepped closer to her sister. Mother gambled that humans were isolated and vulnerable. She was wrong. The question now is whether you're willing to let billions die because you can't admit our people made a mistake. The bay fell silent except for the low hum of station systems. Telvara's hands clenched at her sides. Mother will never forgive this betrayal. Then she'll have to accept having 2 disappointing daughters instead of 1. Kael'Thera's tone softened. Telvara, please. I know you follow orders. I know you believe in our empire's superiority. But look at where that belief has led us. To the edge of a war we cannot win, against people who are willing to try peace. Telvara's glow flickered, dimmed, steadied. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible. The fleet commanders are waiting for my signal to attack. Then, signal them to stand down. And if Mother demands to know why? Kael'Thera smiled grimly. Tell her the Barren princess she sent as a sacrifice turned out to be more useful than she anticipated. For 5 heartbeats, nothing happened. Then, Telvara reached for her communicator. This is Princess Telvara to all Velkaris fleet commanders. Stand down. Repeat, stand down. Return to defensive positions and await further orders. Her fingers trembled slightly. Authorization, Telvara, First Daughter, by right of battlefield command. Chen's comm crackled. Sir, enemy ships are breaking attack formation. They're moving to holding positions. The commander nodded slowly, weapon finally, lowering. Acknowledge. Maintain defensive readiness but do not engage unless fired upon. He looked at Telvara. Your sister just saved a lot of lives. Including yours. I'm aware. Telvara's posture was rigid, the weight of her decision visible in every line of her body. What happens now? Now? Kael'Thera set down the datapad. Now we all face the consequences of our choices. You'll have to explain to Mother how her perfect plan unraveled. Qin and his people will have to decide whether they can trust a species that tried to conquer them. And I. She paused, looking around the bay at human and Velkaris faces alike. I'll have to figure out if I actually want to go through with this marriage, or if I'm just as trapped as I was before. Qin stepped forward. For what it's worth, I'd like to try. The real version. Not the political arrangement. Not the hostage situation. Just 2 people seeing if they can build something that matters. Why? The question came out softer than Kael'Thera intended. I stopped a war, but that doesn't make me less barren. Less defective by my people's standards. Because you saw information that could have kept you safe, and you chose to use it to save others instead. Because you decoded a plot in hours that was designed to be unbreakable. Because you stood in front of your sister, who could kill you with a thought, and told her the truth anyway. Chen's expression was gentle. Those aren't defects. Those are exactly the qualities I'd want in a partner. Kael'Thera felt something shift in her chest. Not love, they barely knew each other. But possibility. Hope. The strange, terrifying freedom of choice she'd never had before. Martinez cleared her throat. Sir, we're receiving an incoming transmission. It's from the Velkaris flagship. Queen Sevrala is requesting immediate diplomatic contact. Of course she is. Kael'Thera straightened her robes. Chen, I assume your people record these negotiations? Standard protocol. Good. Let her see me. Let her see that her expendable daughter is the reason her empire isn't currently at war with half the galaxy. She looked at Telvara. You should probably be in the room too. Misery loves company. Telvara's laugh was sharp and unexpected. You've changed, little sister. No, Kael'Thera said quietly. I've just stopped pretending to be what everyone expected. The conference room was designed for tense negotiations, with a large view screen and uncomfortable chairs arranged around an oval table. Qin took the position of authority at the head. Kael'Thera sat to his right, Telvara to his left. Martinez and several other officers lined the walls, weapons holstered but present. Queen Sevrala appeared on screen in full regalia. Her silver skin seemed to glow with barely contained fury. Behind her, advisors clustered like shadows. Commander Qin. I trust my daughters are unharmed? Perfectly safe, Your Majesty. Though I'm curious about your definition of diplomatic mission. Let me speak to her. Kael'Thera kept her voice level. Mother. The Queen's expression didn't change, but her eyes, those sharp, calculating eyes that had looked through Kael'Thera her entire life, finally focused on her youngest daughter. Kael'Thera. I see you've involved yourself in matters beyond your understanding. I understand perfectly. You plan to use me as an excuse for invasion. When I married Qin, you'd claim humans were holding me hostage and use that as justification for war. The marriage was never about alliance. It was about positioning your forces for genocide. Advisors behind the Queen shifted uncomfortably. Sevrala's expression remained carved from ice. Your naivete shows, child. Politics requires difficult choices. The human threat to galactic stability required addressing. You were meant to serve your empire. By dying? By accepting your role. Something you've struggled with since birth. The Queen's tone could have frozen stars. Though I see you've found a new purpose, betraying your own blood. Kael'Thera stood, planting her hands on the table. I didn't betray our people. I saved them. You violated the Confederation treaties. The moment you fired on human colonies, every signatory species would have been obligated to defend them. The Velcaris Empire would have faced a coalition war we couldn't win. Your pride was about to destroy everything our ancestors built. You don't know, I do know. Because I actually read the treaties instead of dismissing them as beneath my notice. Kael'Thera's voice rose. You sent me here assuming I was too stupid and too powerless to matter. But I'm the one who decoded your plans. I'm the one who contacted the Confederation Council. I'm the one who stopped Telvara before she could give the attack order. All the things you never taught me to do because you decided before I was born that I wasn't worth the effort. Silence stretched across the calm. The Queen's glow intensified, dimmed, steadied. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. You decoded military encryption without telepathic assistance. I've decoded a lot of things without telepathic assistance. That's what happens when you're born different, you learn to compensate. Kael'Thera. Chen's hand touched her wrist gently. A reminder that she wasn't alone. She sat back down, breathing hard. The Queen studied them both. Kael'Thera could almost see the calculations happening behind those ancient eyes. Finally, the Confederation Council has already contacted me. They're demanding I withdraw all forces immediately and submit to arbitration regarding this misunderstanding. Good, Chen said. We'll expect formal withdrawal within 12 hours. And Your Majesty? If you ever threaten human colonies again, there won't be arbitration. There will be consequences. You dare threaten, not a threat. A promise. We've proven we can defend ourselves and that we have powerful allies. But we prefer peace. Real peace. The kind built on mutual respect instead of conquest. He glanced at Kael'Thera. Your daughter showed us that's possible. Perhaps you should listen to her. The Queen's gaze shifted to Kael'Thera. Something flickered there, not love, exactly, but acknowledgement. It seems I underestimated you, daughter. You did. But I'm willing to forgive that if you're willing to change. Kael'Thera's voice was steady now. Order the fleet home. Accept the Confederation's arbitration. And most importantly, stop treating your people as disposable based on whether they were born with the gifts you value. That's our culture, then maybe our culture needs to evolve. Just like humanity had to evolve past their own destructive patterns. She stood again, but calmly this time. I'm staying here. Not as a hostage or a political pawn. As someone choosing her own path. If Jun and I decide this marriage can work, it will be our choice. If not, I'll find another purpose. But I'm done being the daughter you sent away because I embarrassed you. The Queen was silent for so long that Kael'Thera thought the transmission had frozen. Then, very well. The fleet will withdraw. I will submit to arbitration. And Kael'Thera. The hardness in her voice cracked slightly. Perhaps when this crisis has passed, you and I should have a longer conversation. One that's overdue. Perhaps. Kael'Thera agreed. But not until you're ready to actually listen. The transmission ended. Kael'Thera stood staring at the blank screen, feeling the weight of the last few hours settle over her like a physical thing. Around the table, officers began to relax, hands moving away from weapons. Chen stood beside her. That was well done. Was it? I just upended galactic politics and probably started a civil war within my own family. You stopped a war between our species. You exposed a genocidal plot. And you stood up to a queen who spent your whole life making you feel worthless. He smiled slightly. That's more than well done. That's extraordinary. Martinez approached, offering a formal salute. Your Highness, Commander, the Confederation Council is requesting a full briefing within 6 hours. They want both human and Velcaris perspectives. Of course they do. Kael'Thera rubbed her temples. I suppose I should prepare a statement. Though I'm not sure how to explain that I decoded military secrets hidden in wedding gifts. Start with the truth, Chen suggested. It's worked so far. Telvara spoke for the first time since the Queen had appeared. Kael'Thera, I need to return to the flagship. Mother will expect a full report. I know. Kael'Thera faced her sister. Telvara, I'm sorry. I know this puts you in an impossible position. No more impossible than the one you were in. Telvara's expression was unreadable. For what it's worth, you were right. About the treaties. About Mother's plan being flawed. I knew it, but I couldn't. She trailed off. Couldn't question orders. Couldn't challenge the Queen. Couldn't imagine another way. Kael'Thera reached out, touching her sister's hand. I understand. But maybe this can be the beginning of something different. For both of us. Telvara pulled back slightly, old habits dying hard. But there was something softer in her eyes. Perhaps. If we survive the fallout. We will. We're both more resilient than Mother gives us credit for. After Telvara departed under heavy escort, Chen walked Kael'Thera back to her quarters. The station was returning to normal operations, but tension still hummed through the corridors. People stared as they passed, but the mockery was gone, replaced by curiosity and something that might have been respect. At her door, Chen paused. You should know, the original marriage contract is void. Your mother's violation of treaty terms nullified all agreements. You're free to leave if you want. Kael'Thera considered this. Freedom. The word tasted strange in her mouth. And if I don't want to leave? Then we start over. Get to know each other without politics or expectations hanging over us. See if there's something real worth building. He smiled. I'm willing to try if you are. But I need to know it's your choice, not just another obligation. I've spent my whole life being told my choices don't matter. That I'm broken and useless and expendable. Kael'Thera met his eyes. Today I proved otherwise. Today I made choices that mattered. And one of those choices is that I want to stay. Not forever, necessarily. Not as a perfect solution to political tensions. But as myself, exploring a possibility that actually interests me. Chen extended his hand. Not the formal gesture from the docking bay, but something warmer. An offer of partnership. Then, welcome to Outpost Meridian, Kael'Thera. Fair warning though, life here gets complicated. She took his hand, feeling the roughness of his palm, the strength in his grip, the simple human warmth that her people had always dismissed as primitive. Commander, I just prevented an interstellar war while navigating my family's dysfunction. I think I can handle complicated. His laugh was genuine. I think you're right. 6 months later, Kael'Thera stood in the same conference room, but everything had changed. The Confederation arbitration had resulted in a complete restructuring of Velcaris military protocols and new oversight on expansionist policies. Her mother had been forced to accept a council of advisors including non-telepathic Velcaris, a development that would have been unthinkable before. And the Human Velcaris Alliance had evolved from political arrangement into something approaching genuine partnership. Kael'Thera herself had become an unlikely ambassador, translating between cultures and mediating disputes with a skill that surprised everyone except Chen. Her academic background in linguistics had proven invaluable, and her unique perspective, either fully Velcaris nor fully integrated into human society, gave her credibility with both sides. The marriage hadn't happened yet. She and Chen had agreed to wait, to let their relationship develop naturally. Some days were easier than others. Cultural differences that seemed trivial on paper became chasms in daily interaction. But they were learning, both of them, how to bridge those gaps. Today's meeting was different. The Confederation Council had requested her presence for something unprecedented. She entered to find Chen already there, along with Martinez, several Confederation representatives, And on the view screen, Queen Sevrala. Her mother looked older. The events of 6 months ago had taken their toll. But there was something different in her eyes, not warmth, exactly, but acknowledgement. Kailtera. Mother. The word was still difficult. They'd had 3 conversations since the crisis, each one slightly less strained than the last. Progress was measured in millimeters. A Confederation representative, a four-armed Takaran named Zh activated a holographic display. We've called this meeting to address a proposal from the Velkaris Empire. Queen Sevrala, please present your request. The Queen's image straightened. The Velkaris Empire formally requests the establishment of an interspecies cultural exchange program, modeled on principles developed by Princess Kailtera in her work with the human colonies. We propose embedding Velkaris scholars and diplomats with human settlements, and vice versa, to foster genuine understanding rather than political maneuvering. Kailtera blinked. Mother, did you just suggest cultural exchange? You've spent centuries arguing that Velkaris telepathic superiority makes such programs unnecessary. I was wrong. The admission seemed to physically pain the Queen. Your work has demonstrated that understanding requires more than telepathic links and assumes superiority. It requires humility, patience, and a willingness to see value in differences rather than defects. She paused. These are lessons I should have taught you instead of dismissing you. Perhaps it's time I learned them myself. Chen leaned forward. This is a significant shift in policy, Your Majesty. What changed your mind? My daughter stopped a war I didn't realize I was starting. She decoded plans that my best military minds assured me were unbreakable. And in 6 months she's built more goodwill between our species than decades of formal diplomacy achieved. The Queen's gaze fixed on Kailtera. I spent your entire life seeing you as a failure because you lacked telepathic gifts. I never considered that you possessed different gifts, ones that proved far more valuable in the end. Kailtera felt something loosen in her chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. But the beginning of it. The exchange program is a good idea. But it needs proper structure. Participants should be chosen for genuine interest, not political convenience. And there need to be protections against exactly the kind of manipulation you attempted 6 months ago. Agreed. Which is why the Confederation Council has proposed you lead the program's development. This gestured to supporting documents. You have unique perspective and proven ability to navigate both cultures. Commander Chen has also been nominated as co-director, given his experience with interspecies cooperation. Chen glanced at Kailtera, surprise and question in his expression. She gave a small nod. We accept, she said, on the condition that the program includes all Confederation species, not just humans and Velkaris. True cultural exchange should benefit everyone. A wise addition. This approved. The Council will finalize details pending your input. This represents a significant step toward lasting peace. After the meeting concluded and the others departed, Kailtera and Chen remained in the empty conference room. She stared at the blank view screen, processing everything. Your mother apologized, Chen said quietly. That must be difficult. She didn't apologize. She admitted being wrong. With my mother, that's practically the same thing. Kailtera managed a weak smile. I never thought I'd see it. Do you think she meant it? I think she's trying. That's more than I expected. She turned to face him. Thank you for agreeing to co-direct. I couldn't do this alone. You've already proven you can do anything. But you don't have to. Chen's hand found hers. That's what partnership means. Not one person carrying everything, but 2 people choosing to share the weight. Kailtera looked at their joined hands, silver skin and bronze, cool and warm, different and complementary. I'm still barren by Velkaris standards. Still unable to join the telepathic collective that defines my people. That hasn't changed. No, but everything else has. You've changed how your people see non-telepaths. You've changed how humans view Velkaris. You've changed the political landscape of half the galaxy. He squeezed her hand gently. Maybe it's time to change how you see yourself. And how do you see me? As someone extraordinary who's just beginning to understand how much she's capable of. He smiled. Also as someone I'm falling in love with, if that matters. Her heart skipped. Both of them. That matters. Though I should warn you, I'm still learning how to do this. The relationship part. My culture doesn't exactly encourage emotional vulnerability. Mine doesn't either, not really. We just hide it better. Chin pulled her closer. But we're already experts at figuring out difficult things together. What's one more? Kael'thera laughed, surprised by the sound. When had laughter become so easy? You're right. And besides, after preventing an interstellar war, how hard can love be? Famous last words. Probably. She kissed him, slow and careful, still learning the mechanics of human affection. When they parted, she added, "But I'm willing to find out." Outside the conference room, Martinez stood at her post, monitoring the corridor. Through the door's small window, she could see the princess and the commander, two people from opposite ends of the galaxy figuring out how to meet in the middle. She remembered the mockery in the docking bay 6 months ago. The way officers had laughed at the defective alien princess. Martinez had been ashamed then, watching prejudice masquerade as humor. But she'd also watched Kael'thera prove every single one of them wrong. The galaxy was better for it. And maybe, just maybe, the next time someone dismissed another person as worthless, people would remember the Barren princess who saved billions of lives. Sometimes the people everyone underestimates turn out to be exactly what the universe needs. Martinez smiled and returned to her rounds, leaving them to their hard-earned peace. 2/2